What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking Denver Nuggets as we continue previews for teams in the Western Conference for the 2024-2025 season. I won't be able to do every team, but if you are a fan of a team in the NBA, let me know if you want to see their preview. I can get that done. But today it's all about the Nuggets. This is a team that obviously is elite. This is a team that was in the playoffs last year for the 6th straight year, a team that won it all the year prior, but unfortunately, while defending their title last year, they fell a little bit short in a wild series with the Timberwolves, a back and forth series, and it looked like they had everything under control. The Nuggets had a 20-point lead and squandered it away. Karl Anthony Towns was fantastic for the Timberwolves, and it seemed like maybe the Nuggets just didn't have enough reliable depth at that time to give some of their starters, mainly JOKIC, a little bit of a breather. And guys started to get tired. They started to wear down, and what happened. The Nuggets went home defeated. But what about this season? Were any changes made to maybe give this team an extra boost or two off the bench? A little extra help to make sure that doesn't happen again. They did make a couple moves that we'll talk about. They also lost a guy or two that we'll talk about. But the question is, are the Nuggets equipped to get back to the finals, get back their championship in 2025? Starting off with the returning stars, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray are back. And that is the most important thing for this team, especially Jokic. Obviously, being that he's the best basketball player in the universe, it probably will help this team. He's still just 29, 3 MVPs in 4 years. And he has just mastered the game of basketball like no one else. 7 foot tall, yet he can play like a guard. He can handle the ball. He can shoot the ball. He can hit at 3. He can basically do it all. And next to him, Jamal Murray, who averaged over 20 points per game. It's kind of amazing that he's never made an all-star team, but he is a bit of a slow starter. He has had injury issues, but as long as he's going strong, as long as he's running on all cylinders, come the playoffs, come March, come April, then it'll be all good for the Nuggets, because when he's doing well, and he will be a huge factor for this team alongside Jokic, because the two of them are an amazing combo. They can play together, they can pick and roll, they can just dominate opponents. And then you got Michael Porter Jr. at small forward, Aaron Gordon back at power forward, both key players. Porter's going to have to keep draining that three-pointer. He's going to have to use that massive wingspan to keep grabbing rebounds. And he's just a very good player. Defensively, he's not the best, but he's gotten better, and that needs to continue. You have Aaron Gordon, an all-around athletic machine. He can dunk, he can cut, he can steal, he can defend. He can just bring a huge amount of energy to the floor. Okay, he's not the best shooter, but there's plenty of that skill already on the court in spades with some of the players I've already mentioned. And that's really the core 4. Those 4 guys are the 4 that brought a championship to Denver, and they're the 4 that'll bring one back, but they do need a little bit of help for sure. A big wild card is going to be Christian Braun. He is a really good defender. He can hit the three-pointer as well, but he averages 7 points per game last year. He's going to need to step it up a little bit this season. He's only 23, and this is going to be a huge key for this team. Some of the youngsters, got some 22, 23-year-olds who were okay last year. They're going to need to step it up this year, and if they do, that could be all the difference in the world. And Christian Braun is probably the biggest one of them, because he is currently in the starting rotation, and he's going to have to show some big improvement. And I think that's a strong possibility that he will, because the Nuggets did lose a couple of guys. They lost KCP. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has signed with the Magic. They also lost Reggie Jackson, who fans are torn on. Some like him, some don't, but he's off to Philadelphia. But they've signed a player everybody knows who's better than Reggie Jackson. It's a former MVP. And of course, I'm talking about Russell Westbrook, an explosive playmaker. He can come off the bench now at this point in his career, provide some rest for Murray. But the thing about Westbrook, unfortunately, there are some negative aspects to Westbrook's game.
What?
He's never won a ring. I don't like to blame a player for never winning a ring in a team sport. It's not just, it's a full team that has to do it. But Westbrook's style of play is part of the problem. I think he should have a ring or two by now, especially with the teams that he had in OKC. And he's been on some really good teams, but he's a guy who's high volume, but oftentimes spotty shooting. He's a guy who used to chase triple doubles. It's a guy who's been criticized for his lack of hustle defensively. And at this point in his career, he's going to have to get over that. He's going to have to be more of a team player, more focused on doing his part for the team and not just trying to be the man, not just trying to hit every shot in the world. So if he can make that adjustment, he's already kind of done so in the last couple of years, but he's going to have to continue to make that adjustment and just bring some explosiveness. And hopefully he still has explosiveness. He's 36, like I said, but if Westbrook can still play like Westbrook and just play his role and do his part, he'll be a huge upgrade over Reggie Jackson. I don't know if it makes up for the loss of KCP, but he'll be a huge asset off the bench for the Nuggets. But I did mention that JOKIC might need a little help, need a little backup, need a little rest. So the Nuggets did bring in another player, Dario Saric, who is a solid playmaker, can hit some shots and at least kind of help the team tread water while JOKIC maybe gets a little rest at times. Now, obviously in the playoffs, JOKIC is going to be out there quite a bit. But last year, he was there almost every second, and you can tell it kind of wiped him out. And he's going to need a little more rest, I think. So hopefully Dario can help him with that. And I talked about the younger players. That's going to be a huge key. Christian Brown, yes, but also a couple of first-round picks. Julian Strawther is one of them, a great shooter. A guy can hustle on both sides of the ball. He's got the potential to provide a huge spark for this team off the bench, and Peyton Watson as well. Another first-round pick. I believe he was a Thunder first-round pick. He's entering his third season. He's just 22. Big energy, defense. He can block, and he's got a lethal shot. He can get hot. But these young guys will have to take a step forward this year in their development. If that happens, for 2 or 3 of these younger guys who are in their early 20s, if they can take a big step forward, and if Russell Westbrook can step into his role, and if he still has some of that explosiveness left, and if Dario can be at least just a decent backup for JOKIC, this team should be fine. The big four, like I said, it's the big four is going to get them there. Sometimes in the playoffs, things happen, and last year, it's just one of those things. They had a 20-point lead, and they blew the lead, and Karl Anthony Towns and the Timberwolves just had this huge comeback, and it happened, and they ended up losing that series. They lost 3 other games as well. One of them they got just completely demolished. So they definitely could use some improvements this year. I think they're slightly better. I'm not going to say they're a ton better. They lost KCP. They lost some good players, but they also added some. But there's just some ifs here. If Russell Westbrook can still be explosive and he can stick to his role, if these younger players step it up, and if the main four stay healthy, because if JOKIC or somebody gets hurt, it could be game over. So this team is really kind of held together by some glue that if that glue breaks, the whole thing could fall apart. They're held together by some pretty delicate glue right now, but they are held together. And I think there's enough talent here to get this team deep into the playoffs. But again, some really good teams are still out there. The Mavs I've talked about. The Clippers are good. The Kings are even good here. And I'm a Kings fan, but I think they look pretty good. They're going to be tough this year. And of course, the Thunder as well. So lots of good teams. It's going to be a fun season, though, for sure. I like the Nuggets. I like this team. JOKIC, got to stay healthy. Stay healthy, stay healthy, stay healthy. The 3 keys, stay healthy. The young guys have a better season. They step it up. They don't have to be great. They don't have to be all-stars. They just need to step it up a little bit this year, be a little better than last year. And Russell Westbrook has got to do his thing and not be crazy, not take too many shots, not be, Russell. We don't need Russell Westbrook. They need Russell Westbrook. You guys have a great one. We'll talk to you next time.